Sup you beautiful people. Hope you've had a fantastic day. Welcome back to a brand new episode of What If Deku Was Cursed by Death. If you guys enjoyed this what if, comment down below and let me know. And go ahead and check out other what ifs in the channel after watching this video. Don't forget to shower some appreciation onto the incredible author responsible for this fanfiction. The link is conveniently waiting for you in the description box down below. Before we get into it though, don't forget to subscribe and leave a like, and also share this video with your friends. So let's start this video. Aizawa listens to the class saying that they'll be going shopping as he walks out. He has heard from Tsukauchi about Midoriya's predicament, and could not help but sigh in exasperation and in concern. This child is too problematic. He'll sue him if he gets white hairs before 50. He can hear Midoriya inviting Todoroki and Iida, who both turn it down. Todoroki is going to see his mother, and Iida has things to do with his brother Tensei. The guy is so cheerful and carefree that sometimes he cannot picture the two being brothers. Midoriya is understanding and turns to Uraka. They make a list together and decide to go with the group. Oh, he says, walking back into the room and surprising everyone. Midoriya, Netsu needs to speak with you before you leave to your shopping trip. Midoriya blinks before nodding. Alright. Thank you, Aizawa-sensei. He smiles at him and looks at his friends. He speaks with them for a little longer before having to go and have a conversation with the principal. Aizawa is in the lounge, enjoying a steamy fresh cup of coffee. He's breathing evenly, relaxing and trying to not care about his class of problems. After the talk with Bakugo 2 days ago, he was just done and not wanting to interact with anyone. Of course, he cannot do that since he has to teach them. He cannot, for the life of him, remember the reason he agreed on taking up teaching. Bakugo is one of the types of people that he worries about becoming heroes. So much potential, but with a temper like that can put a hinder on one's career as a hero. Endeavor, he's one who will fit the profile. Bakugo can grow, but if he does not, he will end up just like Endeavor. He will throw tantrums, blame others, and get others killed with his actions alone. He doesn't need that happening. He doesn't need anyone failing Katsuki like they had failed Enji. This kid held so much potential, it hurts to see him wasted away. I want to retake that exam. He was letting off explosions, glowering at the exasperated teacher. He didn't want this exam to count. Bakugo could not accept this, for he had not been able to prove to them that he is amazing. It was all ruined by that shrimp. No? He backtracked, not having expected that answer to come out of his mouth. Has this kid ever been told no? Just how could their old teachers call themselves teachers if they could not discipline such an arrogant child? No? What do you mean no? That didn't count. That little runt. Bakugo, from what I can see where you stand, you hold no authority over me. I am your teacher, not your servant. If you do not like that I'm not favoring you, then leave. He watches the display of emotions cross his face when he said that. Seriously, has anyone even spoken to the kid about this? Has anyone even tried to get through to him, or did they just fuel the fire of his ego? This cannot go on. Midoriya is right, people need to teach the boy a lesson, but it does not seem like it'll happen anytime soon. This is a school to train heroes, not brats who throw tantrums over not getting what they want. I do not know how it was at your old school, but everyone here has potential regardless of quirk, and if you cannot see that, then it means Midoriya's lesson wasn't ingrained into your skull. If you continue down this path, no one will see you as a hero. They'll see you as the villain and fear you. Is that what you want? To be seen as a villain? TCH. Whatever, he muttered, glaring at his teacher. He pushed past him, his quirk activating as he stomped off. His voice echoing throughout the building with a string of curses, yelling and spitting and wanting to hurt the boy who he has tormented throughout their years since the two met at age 5. Aizawa sighs at the memory. No one had ever bothered to tell the boy off, and it snowballed to this. He needs to know about the school they went to, he needs to see Katsuki's and Midoriya's old records. He'll have to see how the two had gotten along. See what the teachers say about the two and maybe get a few things from both of their parents. He has to see just how they protected the most, and from what Izuku had told him about the lack of trust, he already knows the answer to it, and it does not sit well with him. I'll have to talk to Netsu about it, he mutters to himself. This is just exhausting. If he cannot get the truth, he will probably smite someone. Shota. What do you want to talk to Netsu about? Ugh, he has to come at the worst times. Nothing important, Hisashi. Let me rest. Aizawa sighs and leans further into his sleeping bag and enjoying the coffee. Or at least he would be if it isn't for Yamada. The man is rambling about something, and not like Midoriya's, who is a quiet creepy mutter. His is a loud annoying shout. It grounds his eardrums into dust and he cannot take it any longer. He sighs again, lifting his head to look up at the loud blonde. You're not going to give this up, are you? Not until I tell you. You know me so well, Shota. So what do you need to ask Netsu? He lets out an elongated groan, really not wanting to deal with it. Aizawa looks at him with a dead stare, not getting why he wants to even know about his problems. Although, this may be helpful. If he can get Mick in on this, some things may become so much easier. I need to see the files on Midoriya and Bakugo to know where they went to school at, and everything how they were there. Oh? Aldera Junior High, he answers simply, grinning at him. What? You didn't know that? That idiotic grin widens considerably where he wishes to punch him and possibly break off a few teeth. I've read their files before, Shota. That's great. Shut it. Just give me the files if you have them. I don't, so I believe you'll have to ask Netsu or you can hack into the school. Aizawa blinks, glancing between the pro hero and the half-finished coffee. Do it for me and being me what you find. I'm tired and I want to sleep. He chugs the coffee and hands the mug to the loud hero before curling up in his sleeping bag, falling asleep. Nothing bad is going to happen if he sleeps. He trusts present Mick to not mess anything up. Bonds that exist can get gnarled and corrupted throughout time. The people that one believes are good will one day turn dark and try to harm you, manipulate you, wanting you to do what they want you to. They do not care if it harms you or anyone else, as long as they can reach to the top. People like this, they're hungry, starving for a purpose in life, and, if they have to, they will become animals that destroy others. They will massacre and hide it, chaotically overturn, destroy the paths that lead to one's fated destination. Friends, family, strangers, it does not matter whom. As long as someone is in the way, they'll rip them apart and leave them to be hollow shells that'll think twice before getting in the way again. They're snakes to wrap around their victim, tightening their hold on them until the cracking of bones echoes throughout the place, and then they're able to feast. Aizawa has seen this happen so many times. He can see that it's the same bond that Izuku and Katsuki have. That is why he cannot fathom why Midoriya had insisted never cutting ties with to begin with. For goodness sake, the boy knows a toxic relationship when he sees one, yet he never bothered to even try to cut it. Unless he did, but the blonde would not let him, which goes to show how much of an ego Bakugo has. He cannot stand the kid, but if he tries to ignore him or leave him, he will rage and try hurting him. He hates being ignored and hates it when people turn their back on him. He's trying to convey a message, and Midoriya has wound up being the target. An interesting case the two have become. Although, the question remains. Why hasn't Midoriya tried to speak up to anyone? Like Tsukauchi. He can see how the two are, their bond is different. He cannot see that bond ever corrupting anytime soon. He needs to speak with Tsukauchi. Maybe he can answer a few questions, then lead an investigation on the school itself. I know you can help me with any problems, but I can't bring myself to reach out. The sudden memory on their conversation before the festival rises up. He remembers how the child would avoid the questions on trusting them as teachers instead of pro-heroes, choosing the latter. That may be an effect from the teachers from Aldera. If so, then he really needs to get answers, whether Midoriya and Bakugo give them or not. He is not playing around with this. Midoriya is not having a good day. The plan to go to Kiyashi and shop for the training camp was supposed to be fun, not end up like this. The group had gotten there only to split up in smaller groups. He and Uraraka had decided to walk together and shop for whatever they need for the camp. As he's speaking, he notices his friend's face turning red. Dark eyebrows draw close together in concern while he places a hand on her shoulder. Uraraka. Are you alright? Do you feel sick? What? No. I'm fine. I am going to find a bathroom. I'm sorry, excuse me. Uraraka rushes off without another second to give him time to answer, leaving him alone in the middle of the shopping center. Her face is a brighter red than before once she realizes what she's just done. Now he must think I'm some weirdo. I cannot believe I just ran away from him. He looks so concerned for me too. Gosh, I'm such a terrible friend. I just can't get a honest statement out of my head. I do not like Deku that way. We're friends. I can't have feelings for him like that. What if he doesn't even like me like that? I could just ruin our friendship. No. I don't like him in that way. I promise. Aoyama was just messing with me. Back with Izuku, who is looking like a confused puppy. He sighs for a few seconds, looking around to see where he can go. His friend has been acting strange lately that sometimes he can't figure out why. He can always see her shooting questioning glances at him, then a few seconds later glares at Aoyama. Weren't they partners? If he did something to her, Hey. That breaks his train of thought, surprising him a bit. Midoriya sighs, thinking it may be a call for someone else. You're the kid from the sports festival. Okay, that's for him. He's left in a stuttering mess, since it's quite difficult for him to get used to people recognizing him. Ah yes. Wow, you're so cool. A sudden weight falls onto his shoulders and he looks up in confusion. The feeling of bone-chilling fingers wrapping around his throat puts him on high alert as he's trying to place the oh-so-familiar voice. Hello Midoriya Izuku. We're here to kill All Might. No? It can't be. That sickening smile that stretches across his face behind the mask. While it's obscured, Midoriya can't see the wrinkles around those red eyes. The ruby eyes that hold such rage. He stands in trepidation for a few moments before steeling himself. This must be a misunderstanding. This cannot be who he thinks he is. I don't think you're in any position to ask such things from me. Of course, his luck is terrible. He cannot believe it. What is he doing here? How stupid is this guy that he'll willingly walk up to him? Shigaraki Tomiura, he growls as he glares daggers at the villain in pure rage and hatred. This is just not his day whatsoever. Oh, come now, Izuku. We're friends here. Don't give me that look. You don't want to struggle, he threatens lowly, ghosting his finger over his flesh. He forces himself to relax and maybe he relaxes a little too much, but hey, what's some careless banter between friends? Wow, aren't you a sight for sore eyes? His mouth opens as if he realizes something. A mocking worried expression appears on his face. He drops it to a cheeky smile. Oh, wait, no you aren't. You look sick, maybe you should get a checkup. After all, you look ready drop dead in a second and poor me, I'll have to deal with your pitiful soul. Haha. You think you're so funny, don't you, you cheeky little brat. Shigaraki narrows his eyes, tightening his hand around his neck and forcing himself to keep one finger up from turning him to ash. His red eyes meet those toxic green eyes that he hides behind those stupid sunglasses. He's going to get answers. He will never let this son of a bitch get the upper hand again. Let's have some tea, I have a few things to ask you. The two enemies, the two friends sit next to each other, burning holes into each other's forms. If looks could kill, the two would have been dead 10 times over. In the food court, in one of the booths, Tomiura is holding Izuku hostage without anyone's notice. One hand on his waist with a finger hovering over the hip. Izuku is rigid, staring into the depth of his drink, as if it held the answers to the world, some deep psychological proverb that can magically get him out of this situation, but nothing is there. The silence between them is deafening. Shigaraki is studying the boy that he can easily kill, tightening his hand on his hip and earning a sharp intake of breath and a snort. He squirms under his touch, which lets the villain know something he did not want anyone to know. He's ticklish. Damn. He hopes the man-child doesn't have the brains to figure it out. Oh thank God, he doesn't. Midoriya glances away, hoping to catch sight from one particular person from his peripheral vision to no avail. What do you want to know, Shigaraki? Then a sly and cheeky smile comes to his face. And what makes you think that I will give you any true answers? He reaches up and takes his sunglasses off, revealing toxic eyes. He knows that this insane man-child can kill everyone around him, and he has to play his cards right, or a massacre will occur, and he can see just how many. They hold shadows that cling to them like a lifeline, for they are signs of the end of the people's lifeline. You're the type who always goes to the heart of the problem. The fortunate thing is, Beetle is not there to make a statement like saying hearts are delicious or something dumb like that. The only fortunate thing, but seriously, he needs assistance, that damn bastard. You're right. Of course, you don't have to be truthful or anything, you just won't learn anything useful for your beautiful crimson artist. There's no way you know anything about her. You are lying, trying to get into my head. I know enough about her, he lies in attempt to sound convincing. Yes, but do you know who exactly she is? He grins slightly in victory when he sees the contemplative gleam in those eyes. Curiosity is the key to one's downfall. That's what I thought. An exchange of information. That's all I want, he proposes as he grips his hip tighter. And I won't lie to you as long as you don't lie to me. Midoriya clenches his teeth. He cannot take the deal no matter what. He can't. After all, he can't know who she is. How could he? You've met her. He shrugs, moving his hand up to his shoulder. I'm here because of her. She wants you in her grasp, but that's never going to happen. No, I won't let her get her dirty hands on you. He gives him a sickly sweet smile as he drags a finger down the side of his face. She will have to pry you from my cold dead hands. You interest me, Izuku. His body goes rigid, tension filling his muscles. His eyes on the tall villain who is ready to kill him at any moment. Why? Why? Because I don't take orders from stingy witches, and like I said, you interest me. I mean, someone who can't die. Well, I want to know how many times you have to die before your mind gets muddled with a variety of memories. Yes, I watched you that night in Hosu. I saw you take that blade and rise right back up, like it was nothing after 3 minutes. You can't hide anything from me, Izu. Which? Did she? Never mind. I don't believe you. You don't know who she is. He clicks his tongue at him, wagging a finger in front of his face. He enjoys this. He dangles everything the boy needs to know in front of him and yanks it away. He just needs to continue playing. You don't know that and we're running out of time. Honestly, good. Maybe then someone why never mind. They're too oblivious. No wonder many people get kidnapped or killed in public places, he mutters as he pulls his phone out. He sighs at seeing the video and the message below. Have fun seeing my new victim. Crimson. Oh? She has your number, that's nice. You can see as she tortures her victims. Tomohiro snatches his phone and plays the video, forcing him to watch it. Izuku tenses at seeing the night vision. Yes, I heard about this type of torture. Put them in a dark room and watch how their sanity crumbles. He laughs as he sees the expression of trepidation on the hero's face. The way his eyes widen and his lips part then brought in by his teeth, chewing on the dead skin. I can help you, Midoriya, but I want something in return. If you want her gone, you just have to trust me. He turns up the volume so that he can hear the screaming and crying of the tortured man. His grin widens as he watches the man tear at his own flesh, ripping it apart and letting blood splash onto the ground. Stop, he murmurs, looking away and feeling sick to his stomach. Here he is, having a grand ole time with his friends, while someone is getting tortured to madness. Stop it, please. Fine. I'll answer your questions. Just stop. This isn't funny. Shigaraki grins in triumph. He turns the phone off, placing it on the table. He turns towards him, sticking his hand out. Deal. Flicking his eyes down at his hand, then up at his face, he lets out a breath. Izuku reaches up and shakes his hand, glad that Tomohiro was being mindful on one finger. Deal, he responds reluctantly. He should get dual-fingered gloves so that he doesn't. Arg. He cuts himself off as to not bring any attention to them, clenching his fist. On his left hand, a sigil appears. 3 big delicate swirls, 2 having dark and thick ends, 2 small swirls in between 2 of the bigger ones on the right. 2 branches jut out facing into the middle from the inside of the curve on the bottom. On the left there's a line with 2 curved lines going through it. A small horn-like shape above the last swirl. A few more details that he can see but cannot focus on. It's blurry to him. He glances up to see Shigaraki wearing the same pained expression. What the hell is that? Tomohiro asks, growling at the sight of the sigil on their left hands. He moves his hand so that he can see it better. The dark marking stands out against a pale hand, almost looking like a tattoo. The golden light around the edge is slowly fading as the sigil stands out and shows what that small handshake had done. A sigil. If I'm not mistaken, a contract sigil, the one that I made a few weeks ago. I didn't think they'd work, he mutters. Now, we both cannot lie and have to uphold our ends of the deal. You tell me what you know and I'll answer any questions you have. Shigaraki is thoughtful, and for a second Izuku believes that he might not have known anything after all. He's hopeful, but it doesn't last long. Alright, and if we don't? If you lie, you suffer the consequences. I don't know if it's different every time or not. He falls into an explanation that lasts a few minutes long, hating the fact he had made a contract with this asshole, and that he has to tell him everything. He cannot believe he fell for that trick. An ugly smile comes onto his face as he realizes something. I've got you trapped, Midoriya Izuku. You won't be able to uphold yours, you won't have time. Alright, I'll go first. Wait, what are you wanting to know? Your relation with death and everything that deals with it. His brain comes to a screeching halt. Shit, he thinks. Maybe that display in the USJ was not a good thing. He blames death for being in this situation. Fucking hell. He cannot tell him just how the hell no. Damn it. Okay, he has to calm down, and if he doesn't he's going to show him how freaked he is. Nah, I'm going first. I'm telling you what you want to know. After all, it's better to get this bitch off the streets, don't you think? Fucking manipulator. I guess. But nothing. I have you where I want you and I didn't even have to kidnap you. Wait till we have you in our hands, you won't be able to do anything. I wouldn't let you, just cannot wait for the look on All Might's face. Fine. Go ahead and tell me what you know. Shigaraki leans down a little, making a show by covering the side of his mouth. Izuku smacks the villain's forehead. Just tell me and stop messing around, bastard, he mutters. Shigaraki rolls his eyes and tells him all that he knows. He gives him a description. Red hair, really pale skin, I mean, does she even go out into the sun? She's whiter than milk itself. Okay, carrying on, stop giving me that look. She has a mole on her chin. Probably around 170 centimeters. What about her eyes? Bro, he cuts himself off with a cry of pain as his hand feels like it's on fire. Okay, it's hazel, he corrects himself, moving his hand away from the green-haired teen with a hiss as he stares at the red on his hand. It looks almost like a sunburn. Okay, ow. Izuku sighs and rubs his temple. Sometimes I wonder how much of a mastermind you really are, he mutters with a shake of his head. Is that all? Maybe a name? A place where she lives? Nope. Nothing. Come on, you've met her. I'm surprised you haven't pieced it together. Aren't you supposed to be this brilliant profiler? He glares heatedly at the pasty villain that he wants to shove his side into repeatedly, over 100 times for being annoying and a little shit. Honestly, yes, Izuku is a little shit too, but this guy is just the type that will be thrown out of a window if they were on a high building. I may be wait, how did you know that I'm a profiler? The cold fingers wrap around his neck once again, pulling him back from where he had scooted away. Nah, don't want to be running now. I can kill so many people right now. That threat would have been just a threat if Izuku hadn't been able to see the shadows clinging to people. I promise you, I don't know anything more. That should be helpful, don't you think? You can narrow down this search. How old? What? How old did she look? Around late 30s, early 40s. That shouldn't be possible, he mutters. I know she's an old champion, but 15 years. I'm one of the 4 of my generation, but who are they? Champion? He doesn't let him speak. Now, you're to hold up your end of the contract, he murmurs, grinning. If you don't, not at the moment, then by the next we meet, I want everything. He makes it sound like he has planned it all out. If so, that means he may try to cut this meeting short. Deku? A wavering smile appears on her face as she stares in worry. That damn bastard knew this might have happened. Is the day? Friend? No, it can't be. They look up in unison, staring at the girl with bobbed brown hair. Her eyes are wide as she stares at her friend being threatened. It's okay, Uraraka, he says, forcing a smile. It does not reassure her. Hey. Let him go. He gets to his feet, grinning to himself. Oh. I didn't know you were with friends. He lies, smiling at the girl. I'll leave you alone now. He disappears into the crowd, taking the drink he had forced Midoriya to buy. Another day, Izuku. Uraraka snaps out of her stupor and takes out her phone. Izuku is staring at his hand, the one with the sigil on it. The contract that he has yet to fulfill. He doesn't blame Michako since she didn't know, but Tomura, that bastard. The next time they meet, he hopes it's in a high building, maybe then he'll see him fly out a godforsaken window. Tsukauchi arrives at the scene as quickly as he can with Toshinori at his heels. Once his dark eyes land on the green curly-haired boy, he places his hands on Izuku's shoulders as he worriedly looks over him. He wants to make sure that he hadn't been terribly injured. While checking him, he pointedly ignores the officer who is smirking at him, taking pictures to show the other policemen. The woman walks over to Uraraka, asking her a few questions while muttering, "You're such a dad." Just adopt him already, as she passes by him. Are you okay, Midori? What did Shigaraki want with you? I'm fine, now, he answers, trying to give a reassuring smile which comes out as a grimace. He looks down at his hand. He wanted to know a few questions. He turns his head away in shame. I made a deal with him, he murmurs low enough for only Toshinori and Namasa to hear. He shows them the contract sigil. The contract sigil, and I didn't uphold my end just yet. Izuku explains to them what Shigaraki said, telling them he was sent by Crimson, and he gave a description of her. He tells them everything that's important, leaving out the banter they had, because he does not want to deal with those looks of exasperation and disapproval. He tells them that he wanted to know about his relationship with death, because of his display at the USJ, from when he was slowly being overtaken by death. He turns his head away, glaring at the ground while clenching and unclenching his fists. So you two made a contract and now, you have yet to uphold it. What happens if you don't fulfill your end? Midoriya sucks in a harsh and shaky breath, rubbing his hands together and looking up at Tsukauchi. Toshinori is there behind him, staring at the two. I have no sigh, I'm not entirely sure, but I'm sure it's not good. Shigaraki arrives at the bar, grinning like a maniac. He scratches at his neck, pacing around to the annoyance of Dabi and Kurogiri. The scarred black-haired male is giving him one of the dirtiest looks he can muster up. Shigaraki, stop that, commands the bartender. His golden eyes land on his left hand, seeing the tattoo-like symbol on it, and they narrow. What is that on your hand? The brat called it a contract sigil, he answers, looking at it. The sigil fades out of existence, leaving him to shrug. The witch said that if I made a contract with him, I'd have to make sure that he wouldn't be able to uphold his end of the deal. She said that she'd tell me more about it later, once I completed it. And you did, pipes up the venomous voice. Those hazeler eyes is holding a murderous gleam as they fall onto the leader of the league. But you gave me away. You stupid bast. He grabs her wrist with all 5 fingers, watching as her flesh slowly starts to flake off. You shouldn't speak to me that way. Be glad I didn't tell him where he can find you, which, he hisses, narrowing his red eyes at her. Crimson Artist, or should I say Hikawa Char. That name does not apply to me anymore, you son of, she screams once again, and rips her hand away from him again, backing up. I will make sure you will regret this. With that she leaves the bar. Wow, what a drama queen, mutters Dabi, rolling his blue eyes. He glances over at Toga Himiko, who is pouting. What's wrong with you? She's what's wrong with me. She's able to spill blood, but I can't. You do it all the time. I don't care. She gets to have fun and torture, why can't I? Tomura whips around to her, his gaze fixated on her. Then go ahead. Who's stopping you? He scratches at his neck. You'll be able to spill all the blood you want, torture all you want, but first, you have to bring me, Midoriya Izuku. So that happened. Shigaraki is love, nah, JK. He is a manipulative son of a bitch, that is for sure. He knew that Midoriya was with friends, but hey. He got what he wanted. Also, Midoriya does know, but again, he's not sure if it's true or not. So, we finally know the identity of Crimson Artist somewhat. Fun fact on Crimson Artist, Hikawa Char. Hikawa Char. I combined the kanji, Hai, Scarlet, Dark Red and Y, Kawa, River, Stream. A Char is Thai for angel, but her mother is Irish American. Basically her name means the angel of the Scarlet River. Or something along those lines. Okay, no more about CA, let's talk about Namasa and Izuku. So cute. Start of outtake. Izuku should not be concerned, but he can't help it. Does your finger not cramp? He asks, finally breaking the silence. I mean, they make gloves for 2 fingers, you should buy some. That way you won't hurt your fingers when holding someone hostage if they try to run. Hold onto them with one hand, and remove the glove with your teeth and bam. No more hostage. Why am I telling you, you wonder? I do not know. It just makes my finger cramp in sympathy for yours. He makes a show by stretching his own fingers and closing them. Tomura doesn't say anything, staring in disbelief at this teen. He's basically threatening to kill him and others, yet here he is blabbering about his finger that is surely cramping. You're not scared that I can kill you? Nope. If I die, well oh no, one less person who's already being replaced. I mean, the population has to go down somehow, right? I'm all against murder and all, but hey, human minds you know. You're an odd hero. He shrugs, moving his hand over onto his shoulder, feeling uncomfortable with his hand on his hip. At least then you're closer to something vital. And I know I'm an odd hero, what did you expect from our last meeting? I can be batshit insane. I mean, like I fucking mutilated my eyewear in that display, did you think I was sane? My classmates can't look at me without thinking I'm going to chop their heads off with my scythe. And you're a hero. Honestly, you terrified many villains. You would have made a great villain. Yeah, but it's too much work being petty and holding grudges. End of outtake. Tsukauchi cannot sleep. His mind going back to what Izuku said. Tomura had been there at the Kiyashi ward for Izuku because of Crimson Artist. If the killer has finally gotten in touch with the League of Villains, that can't mean anything good. When he gave the description, Namasa can't help but frown. One of their theories was that Crimson was a police officer, but none of the officers fit the description given by the villain. All he could do is reminisce the day. How do you know you can trust him? He asked. Tsukauchi still didn't like the whole thing. If Midoriya is being targeted by both the villains and the killer, then he is not safe. His eyes usually, they're sharp like a snake's, almost ready to strike at the weak points of his enemies or of his friends and family. A soft green with the hints of acidity, burning holes into whoever they land on, were full of exhaustion, and stared into his dark ones. You can't lie through a contract, now. He tried, but he was in absolute pain until he was corrected himself, he explains. He understands that he is worried, but really, Izuku is just tired and wants to go home and just sleep. Alright, what have you figured out on your own? He questioned. Midoriya gave him a helpless shrug. Beetle hasn't been around lately, and I can't summon my persona, he answered glancing to the side. Since they were in a public place, he wasn't going to say anything about death aloud. Last time he had gotten strange glances where he had to improvise and say that it was a video game. No, he took to calling death a persona, which is the name for the people that champions work under. It's okay, Midori, he comforted. He didn't want to frustrate him more and could see that he was exhausted. Your mom is outside, but I have a question. Is she doing okay? Izuku sighed, that is never good, and shook his head. I'm not sure myself. She has started withdrawing from me too. I'm really worried about her, but she would always try to reassure me. I think between my being a hero, a champion, and the whole investigations, she's stressing herself too much. I don't want her to worry, but it's hard. My life is hard. She should never have had to worry for me if I had. Don't, he intervened. The whole blaming himself, it was not good for the teen. He did not want him blaming himself. Yes, his life was hard, and sometimes Tsukauchi stressed himself with the constant worry for Izuku, but that does not mean that he had to blame himself. Everything came with consequences, and these are his. People worry for him because they care, but they cannot continue doing so even though they do care for him. Do not blame yourself. You didn't ask to be a champion, right? No? We're chosen because we have the sight. We can see past the veil. Okay, so it isn't your fault. You wanted to be a hero, that comes with consequences, and you know that. You chose to be involved with the investigations, and we let you even though we really shouldn't have. Tsukauchi could see the gears turning. So, it's going to get hard when someone is at your position. Your mother loves you, but she may have to distance herself just a little. A little breather. Does this always happen? To everyone? It happened to me and Toshinori, he answered. But you shouldn't worry. Come on, she's speaking with Toshinori. Namasa sighs and sits up, heading to the washroom. He washes his face and decides to look through a few files, while trying to figure out how to help Izuku. Nothing comes to mind in hopes that the training camp goes well. He reminds himself that he will be surrounded by many people and pro-heroes. Yeah, cause that worked well the last time. He ignores the voice and he sighs for the umpteenth time that night. The bus is really loud, Aizawa notes grimly. He grumbles into his scarf and slides into his seat. He is just glad that they will not be bothering him any longer. After all, training camp is all about them training and working through everything. He is also frustrated with a lot of things. He did a lot of research and found nothing. It pisses him off seeing all his time and effort go to waste. At least he knows a few witnesses that can tell him with the help of Tsukauchi. Shota knows that he cares a lot about Izuku, he can see it, and he knows that that can play well in learning more about the past that two of his students tried to bury. A lot of bad blood between the two, so much that it will hinder their future from being heroes. If they cannot work together well by putting behind their past, then it will transfer towards other heroes that they'll have to work with in the future. Midoriya is playing with a recorder, one of many that Iida had given him for his birthday. It was a whole box full, and no matter how guilty he felt about it, Iida was too convincing, and he didn't want him to feel bad that he didn't want to take it. Momentarily, he is listening to Uraraka happily explain about the things she learned on her quirk. He nods and quickly writes down everything that he can get from her in one of his notebooks. His code coming as easily and quickly as Japanese does. The bus comes to a stop, leading to many questions, all being drowned out by the more louder ones of the group. Aizawa glances up at the ceiling with a grateful look. He finally will get some quietness for how many moments he can get. Hopefully. This is probably not going to get him much, knowing the people they are going to be with, it just won't be all that plausible. Alright, get out you brats. With unnecessary instructions from the class representative, filing in a line and getting out of the bus. A sudden wave of dizziness gets to Midoriya once he gets up, his vision tilting a bit. He grips Iida's shoulder and starts rubbing his head. Iida is looking down at him with mild worry, not having expected that motion. Midoriya. I'm fine, he murmurs, taking a breath. He blinks and continues on his way. He really needs to keep himself from riding well in a moving vehicle. He really gets dizzy from it and a bit of motion sickness. Remind me never to ride or read well on any type of vehicle again. He scouts the area and he finds a single car there. What? He looks into the windshield, but he doesn't need to try. Aizawa wouldn't lead them to potential danger. Well, not intentionally, that is. Mineta is pestering Aizawa about needing the bathroom, and it's getting annoying. From off the side, someone comes up behind the teacher. Heya, eraser. Then it gets weird. Two women start chanting, swapping each time. Rock on with these sparkling gazes. We've come to lend a paw and help. We have come from. Somewhere. Stingily cute and cat-like. Wild, wild. Pussycats. They both cheer in unison, bright-eyed and wearing smiles as they pose together. A small 5-year-old boy is standing off to the side giving them both disappointed looks, shaking his head. He has to deal with these people until he is old enough to leave. Poor kid. He glances over to the group once the two heroines start greeting them and explaining what exactly they will be doing. The boy is staring at one in particular. Green, curly hair. UA uniform. Sunglasses. That throws him off. He's the only one wearing them. Does he think he's cool or something? Wait a minute, says Mandalay as her gaze is on one certain student. Someone she remembers from 2 years prior before the whole incident with Koda's parents. Midoriya Izuku. His classmates turn towards the mentioned teen. Yes. He's known her in her teen and has met her once because of a crime. When that happened in the mountains and they called her, Ragdoll, and him to join in on the investigation. When they saw him, they began to demand why he, a 13-year-old at the time, was joining on something like a homicide case. Wow. You've grown. It's been so long since I've seen you. Wait till Ragdoll knows you're here. Pixie Bob frowns. Isn't he the boy that was? Ah. Yes. I was. It's okay though. She raises an eyebrow but doesn't question or chastise him for cutting her off. Although that didn't stop Aizawa from asking how they met. Sadly, Mandalay had decided to try and explain. Well, it was 2 years ago. There was something going on, a homicide case in the mountains, and while at the police station, Izuku was there. I didn't know why, but he was there. Ragdoll had begun talking to him immediately while I started getting details on the case. Yeah. That's how. And no, I'm not a criminal, Mineta. So you can stop giving me that look. Detective Tsukauchi is a friend of my family's. Uraka, who had been at the Kiyashi incident and seen it, and Mandalay, who was there to witness a whole lot more, both snorted. Sure, they mutter in unison. Mandalay decides to tell Aizawa the rest of the story later. Anyways. While his classmates are listening to Mandalay and Pixie Bob, Midoriya is drawn to a kid who is glaring at them. His eyes find Midoriya, and they widen before settling into a deeper scowl. Do I know him? He does have a familiar aura, but I can't. Koda, are you okay? Asks Mandalay, who is looking at the now pale-faced child. He regains his composure and grunts in affirmation. He looks away from Izuku, and it leaves the green-haired boy in confusion. His name is Koda. I haven't met anyone with that name around his age, at least. I'll have to keep an eye out for the kid. Koda clicks his tongue and glances away, listening to his cousin. It's 9:30 AM right now. I figure maybe you all will be able to get there around noon. So, kiddies who don't get to the lodge at 12:30 won't get any lunch. That's where the chaos begins. They're running away while Midoriya is sighing. He faintly hears Aizawa apologize to them before they are thrown. In a second, Izuku summons his scythe then sticks it into the side of the mountain, his momentum sending him to the ground, but not landing as painful as a few of his friends. On the ridge, Mandalay is watching them. Aside. What's his quirk again? I thought he was quirkless, or had an analytical quirk. Huh, that's weird. Aizawa's expression doesn't change. He calls it full cowl. The scythe isn't a part of it. A family relative of his gave it to him, or so he says. I'm not sure what the problem, child. He is too cryptic in most cases. Also, I know he worked on that homicide case. You do? He works on a lot of murder cases with the police. Heck, he was on the Stain case. He had been there when they captured Stain, he answers, shaking his head. Honestly, problem child is the one everyone worries about the most. My thoughts exactly when I found out he was there for that case. Ragdoll was mad, and it takes a lot for her to get mad. Koda watches the adults talk, listening to the two talk about that Midoriya guy. He peers over at the persona who is beside him, staring at him. Koda, in all due time. Do have patience, please. His expression darkens as he glances out of the window. He can see various of colorful crossroads that they can take, but he knows that they will only take one. Green. Neutral. Many different emotions is tied to this one path. Why is he drawn to Izuku? What does his persona even mean that he is important? Honestly, it's annoying. Midoriya is annoying, and he hasn't really even formally met the guy. Koda sighs and closes his eyes, waiting for them to arrive back at the lodge, so that he can go to his hideout and speak with his persona, since he is apparently all-knowing and whatnot. It makes him mad that he can't get a straight answer with one of the beings of creation. Okay, what the heck, fate? He questions once he is alone. Just who's he that he's so important for me to care about him? He's a hero, he spits out like the word is poison on his tongue. He is important. You'll realize soon. Just follow my strings and you'll see why. That doesn't make sense. He shouts as Fate leaves him alone to his thoughts. Fate, don't leave. Come back and explain, this isn't fair. I'm sick of these personas as much as I'm sick of those stupid heroes. The booming sounds of the beasts falling are the only thing they can all hear. Well, it would have been if it isn't for the constant stream of questions and the plans that are being shouted out for them all to hear. As they fight, some of the nosiest classmates are really wanting to know about the whole police station scenario. So, Midoriya, why were you at the police station when Mandalay and Ragdoll were there for the homicide case? Asks Sagakure as she hits Pixie Bob's earth beasts that Kuta's quirk doesn't work on. They're not actual animals. Midoriya, go for the neck. I'll get the small part of the back. Midoriya doesn't spare the invisible girl a glance. I'm kind of busy right now. He jumps out of the way when the beast tries to squish him. He uses one for all to get high up and use the scythe to hit the back of the neck. One of the weak points. At the same time, Todoroki hits it in the middle of the back with a blast of ice. The students of Wanna continue on their trek. Todoroki glances at his other classmates who are rushing ahead. Iida yells out for Sero and Kirishima to advance forward along with Sato and Shoji. He has Mineta throw some of the balls onto the ground where the monster would step. Midoriya, Todoroki, fall back. Uraraka, Asui help Aoyama. It's Sue. Although, she does as she's told. They help the boy, getting him out of the way and telling the others to advance forward. Mina grins deviously, knowing where Toru is getting at. Yeah, well, what if you're hiding the fact that you were caught doing something totally illegal? Now isn't the time, ladies. Shouts Mineta, who is holding on to Shoji. He doesn't like the whole attention that Midoriya is getting from the girls. The duply armed quirk user is trying to shield him as Iida gives them the plan. Some aren't helping, but that's because they are more of the solo work than teamwork, Bakugo, but it doesn't matter. Thank you, Mineta. Wow, I cannot believe I just said that, Izuku thinks, blinking. In his moment of distraction, the beast flings him against a tree. He lands in a heap and with a grunt. Kaminari is following the girl's example. Yeah, but come on, tell us. If you were at the station, there has to be a reason. Isn't that during the same time you got arrested at school, shitty nerd? Your charges weren't even announced, but I remember perfectly clear you were arrested. Bakugo just has to put his 2 cents in. I want to know what the fuck was important enough for that distraction. Midoriya looks over at Todoroki and Iida with a helpless expression. I don't condone invading our classmates' privacy. You don't condone anything, mutters Mina, who really wants to know her friend's secrets. And I really do not see why it's important at the moment. We're in the middle of a battle. These questions are a distraction. Todoroki doesn't say anything, following Uraraka's shout. Aoyama is groaning and holding his stomach as he leans against a tree. Asui is there trying to help him as he's groaning and trying to regain his composure, but it's difficult. Sero grabs him and has him get on his back with the help of Tsu. Come on, Midoriya. If you were arrested, there has to be a reason. Shouts Sero, grinning as he ties up the leg of another beast. Todoroki, 3 o'clock. Aim for the side. The set boy shouts, swinging the side. To block the attack. He's panting harshly, obviously exhausted already. He doubles over with sweat dripping down his face. He is gasping for air alongside others. They're tired and have been going at it for hours already. Can we please focus? My life is nothing of importance at this moment. Will you tell us? No? He snaps, earning many looks. Some of surprise and others of fear. They stare at the angry boy who is tired of them trying to know about his personal life in middle of a battle. He removes his glasses with a soft sigh as he glances between them all and places them in his pocket. Focus on the task at hand and stop asking me frivolous questions. The beasts were nightmares, the class unanimously conclude. Tokoyami is panting harshly, looking at Dark Shadow, who is really weak and leaning against his shoulder. He shakes his head, trying to rid of some of the dirt from his feathers. He sighs and tries again to remove the dirt. Dark Shadow whines and nudges him a little. Tokoyami sighs again, moving his hand up and petting his head. You're so needy, he murmurs, looking over to the others. Midoriya is leaning against his side, wincing and wiping away blood on his shorts. He isn't the only one either. Sato and Sero have scratches on their faces and burst knuckles. Tsuyu and Uraraka both have bruises on their foreheads, cheeks, and on their arms. For some reason, Aoyama is sparkling and unharmed, but is gripping his stomach in queasiness. Todoroki, Bakugo, Yoirozu, and a few others are covered in mud with scratches and bruises. They're all tired and worn out, and according to Dark Shadow it's around 5:30. They had taken too long to get back to the lodge. Tokoyami is really tired and wants to confront the darkness of sleep. He sighs for the umpteenth time the day when he realizes that it was only one of Aizawa's logical ruses, and they never expected them to finish it in 3 hours. Midori rubs his head as Ragdoll hits him, and starts telling him how dumb he is before hugging him and glancing over at the other students. She smiles and wraps her arm around Midori's shoulders, telling them that they had made dinner for them. Izuku blinks at her actions, not sure how to react, so he just puts back on his tinted spectacles. Midoriya turns towards the kid who is scowling at them. He frowns and stares at the kid. "Hey, Kota," he says, replacing the frown with a friendly smile. He holds out a hand, his eyes close for a moment. "It's nice meeting you." Kota glares at him and instead of trying to shake his hand, he moves to punch him. He stops when he feels fingers wrap around his wrist. Wide, black eyes full of surprise stare into the pale, bright green ones that have been hidden behind black lenses. Anger surges into the dark eyes, and he pushes Midoriya away, stomping away from the boy. "I am so sorry about that, Midoriya." "Kota. It's okay. I shouldn't have." He trails off with a shake of the head, and plasters a big smile to reassure Mandalay. "It's alright, don't worry. We should just get washed up and eat." "I like the kid," Bakugo admits with a stupid grin on his face. This receives a side-eye glance from Todoroki who murmurs, "I can see a resemblance. You two are alike." "What was that, Mr. I threw the match?" "So like." Aizawa huffs and rolls his eyes. "Enough of this sideshow. Go eat." They agree and go to wash up as best they can before they eat. The meal goes well, but Midoriya is drawn to Mandalay's nephew, Kota. He watches him work, taking the crate to where it's needed. There's something. His actions and his words. Just what has happened to him? Izuku frowns, turning away as he falls into deep thought. Urara's shaking her head, knowing exactly what he's thinking. She glances over at Bakugo who is glaring at his food and grumbling at Kirishima in a lazy attempt to communicate. At least he's communicating, she muses with a smile. A small blush comes to her cheeks as she sees Aoyama grinning at her. "What? Does he think that I like?" "No. Baku crap. Why is glaring at me?" She quickly looks away and finishes her dinner. Relaxation. That's all the entire class feels. Happiness and tranquility. The water just feels nice. Midoriya isn't really doing much. His feet are dipped, that's all, which earns a few looks from his friends. "Come on, Midoriya. You really should get changed and come in. The water is nice." Kaminari is beckoning his friend forth into the water, but he just gets a shake of the head. "Or just take your shirt off. You're not going to stop." "Nope." A groan. He takes off his shirt and reveals the muscles underneath along with a few scars. He places his shirt down beside as he hides his face. "Will you stop now?" He earns a small timid yeah, and then everyone goes back to their conversations. "Burns? What happened?" inquires Todoroki. He tenderly touches one of them on his shoulder. It looks off. Almost like a handprint. There's a few more on his back and one on his side. "Nothing. Don't worry," he mutters kind of quickly. His classmates glance at each other, not all too convinced on the response. Todoroki bites his bottom lip, thinking to ask him about it when he gets the chance. He glances over to where Mineta is standing. He is looking up at the fence that separates the two genders. "If you do what I think you're going to do, there's going to be a dead body in the water tonight." Mineta turns to him, lust in his eyes. "Oh, come on. There are girls beside us. Naked. Don't you want to?" Iida starts yelling at him as Midoriya's facial expression darkens. He had removed his glasses because of the steam, so one can see the rising anger and disgust in the greener eyes that hold a toxicity. Plus ultra. Then he's moving. Midoriya growls and moves to jump up and use his quirk to kick him off when Kota pops out. "If you want to be a hero, I suggest becoming a decent human being first," he growls and kicks him off. He glances behind him, hearing the girls chatter before stumbling back at the side and fainting. Midoriya uses one for all and kicks Mineta out of the way to catch Kota. He manages it before he is able to hit his head. Landing in a crouch, he makes sure he's okay and only finds him passed out. He sighs as his eyes fill with utter revulsion for Mineta's actions. He puts on his shirt after he lays Kota down, turning to Mineta. "If you do not face repercussions for this, I'll show you a reason why you should never do something as disgusting as this ever again. That's saying if I don't kill you first, heroics be damned," he threatens lowly with a deadly aura around him. His voice laced with a promise to go through it. Izuku gently picks up Kota, making sure he is secure, then grabbing Mineta by the ear harshly. "I'll be back. Maybe. The guys look at each other with wide eyes, excluding Bakugo, who adds another piece of evidence that Deku is a psycho. Ojiro is the one to break the silence. I have seen Midoriya mad, but never like that. Hopefully, Midoriya does not do anything rash in his anger, says Ida with a worried look on his face. He glances at Todoroki, who knows exactly what he is thinking. The three friends have learned about Midoriya's involvements in police matters. They know why Minetta's actions are utterly revolting, and something that angers Midoriya deeply and easily. Uraraka finds that as one of the reasons she admires Deku. Guys. I can hear Midoriya, Shoji whispers. He's mad and is yelling at Aizawa-sensei. They all stare at the duply armed quirk user with wide eyes. That is not good then. Not good at all. If you knew that was going to happen, then why let it happen at all? Guys, this is scary, Kaminari whispers. We know, Kami, responds Kirishima. Tokoyami glances at Dark Shadow. Dark Shadow says that Midoriya is a child of darkness. I always perceived him as a child of light, but this has changed my mind. A few nods. His actions should not be condoned. If this happens one more time, I do not care about getting expelled myself, Shota. A small shriek comes from Kuda, who is covering his mouth with his hands. He used Aizawa-sensei's first name, whispers Sero in horror. Sato is staring at the water with wide eyes. Holy shit, Midoriya is pissed. Bakugo, have you? He doesn't finish his sentence. Bakugo is blinking and looking down at the water too. He is seeming to rethink his life choices at the moment. He doesn't know if he should be proud, angry, or scared at this. His mind replays memories from the training simulator from the beginning of the year. The insanity that he witnessed was all an act, but the anger and taunts, all of that was real. Katsuki doesn't know what would have happened if Izuku had snapped at him during middle school, and fortunately, he never found out. Izuku is calm enough now. He just cannot believe that Aizawa will let the kid off with a warning. A warning. That boy has no dignity. He goes to check on Kota and finds him still out with Mandalay sitting beside him. The green-haired boy scowls at the reason the boy is even unconscious in the first place. How is he? He's okay. He just fainted from fear of falling. I heard you yelling, she whispers, a frown painting itself on her face. You shouldn't get into any fights because of this. What he did was wrong, but you shouldn't pay for it. I'm just sick and tired of people excusing him. I don't care how much potential Aizawa-sensei sees in him. If he doesn't change his ways soon enough, someone will get hurt. I just do not understand why Aizawa-sensei even lets it happen. As a pro hero who's seen things like this before, he should know. You should cut him some slack, Izu. He is working as hard as he can. I know. I know. He sits down on the floor beside her, placing his face in his hands. I'm tired. Why do people never reprimand people for these sickening actions? I mean, what if Kota was there? Mineta, many of the girls feel uncomfortable with him around. He's touched or grabbed onto them without any permission, made awful comments to them, and really, it's getting tiring. Just how sick and sex-deprived lustful do people have to be for these actions? The wording of it catches her off guard. She turns to him with a deeper frown. Forgive me for asking this, and you don't have to answer considering how awkward it is, but do you not? No? I feel no emotion of lust at all. Many people my age do, even if they hide it. I don't. Weird. Maybe. I don't care. I just don't see it all that necessary at my age. That and just the thought of it, he scrunches his nose in disgust and lets out a small shudder. It doesn't matter. Aizawa-sensei isn't going to do anything. Mandalay places a hand on his head, ruffling his hair. It's okay. I bet the girls may feel safer with you and the others around. There's no way that anything will happen when Mineta knows what you'll do if you find out about anything. I'm sure he knows that you have eyes everywhere. She laughs softly when she earns a snort. A pregnant pause falls onto them. Kota, he lost someone, people he cares about, hasn't he? He murmurs as he gets up and closer to the sleeping child. Why does he have a want to protect him? He barely knows him and already sees him as a younger brother who he needs to keep safe. How did you know? The signs, he shows signs of grief. He is angry and wants to blame someone, but he can't, so he blames the heroes. Mandalay sighs and nods. I forgot how good at reading people you are, Izu. Yes. She looks sad. She always is sad when she thinks about it. A parent is the whole world to a child, and to lose them, it's like everything shatters around you. Midoriya, well, not personally, understands. All those people that lose someone important, children who lose their parents to a killer, it hurts. He sometimes is called in for those types of cases. He can get the kids to open up most of the time, and because he is not an adult, they trust him more. His parents, the water hose duo, died 2 years ago. While the public praised his parents' acts of heroism, he was left to mourn them. He slowly started despising heroes because of this. Midoriya stays silent for a little bit, the two staring at the child whose chest rises and falls in a steady beat. Sometimes I wonder the same thing. We praise the heroes for their bravery even when they are dead. Sometimes we never see the outcome of it. What about their families? What about their loved ones who believe they were coming home only to find out they'll never come home? They're left alone to mourn while everyone else is happy and safe with their loved ones. They praise them for their family's sacrifices. That must be really scarring, especially for a 3-year-old. Shino looks away from the two, sighing softly. Izuku, that captures his attention since she calls him either Izu or Midoriya, but she continues, why do you want to be a hero? You could have become a detective like Yotsukauchi. She almost called Namasa his father, but luckily she didn't. She likes teasing them, but this isn't a moment to tease anyone. A sad smile comes to his face, but his green eyes burn with a deep determination. Thank you so much for joining me on this incredible journey today. I hope you enjoyed exploring the fascinating what-if scenario of Deku. The possibilities were truly mind-blowing. If you found this video entertaining, don't forget to give it a thumbs up, share it with your friends, and subscribe to the channel. Your support means the world to me and inspires me to bring you more captivating content in the future. Stay tuned for more exciting what-if stories and other amazing videos coming your way. Until next time, take care, stay curious.